You are stronger than you think, braver than you feel, and more capable than you believe. Life can feel heavy, full of challenges that seem impossible to overcome, but every obstacle is a chance to grow. Every small step you take brings you closer to a life you once only dreamed of. Change is not sudden. It comes quietly through patience, courage, and effort. Today you will meet someone whose journey proves that no matter where you start, hope can light the way, and determination can turn even the darkest moments into a brighter tomorrow. Michael was an ordinary man, the kind who passed through life unnoticed, his presence dissolving into the background. Yet deep down, he carried a stubborn belief that he was different, that success would find him even if he didn't chase it. His days were filled with dreams, big glowing images of a future where he would be admired, respected, and fulfilled. But every morning he let those dreams slip further away. Work piled up, but instead of focusing, he drowned himself in distractions. Social media, endless scrolling, half-watched shows, he used them all to quiet the guilt of doing nothing. He told himself stories to feel better. I'll start tomorrow, I'll change later, I've still got time. But time was running faster than he cared to admit. One night, sitting alone on his couch, his thumb mindlessly flicking across the glowing screen, he felt the same ache he always did. He saw strangers achieving everything he longed for. His chest tightened, and envy curdled inside him. Why them? Why not me? He whispered. The question wasn't new, but this time he didn't scroll past. He froze, watching a short video of someone who had started with nothing and changed everything with one small, repeated step. That clip was different. It didn't show a miracle, only persistence. For Michael, it sparked something faint, a flicker of recognition that his excuses had trapped him in place. The next morning, the shrill cry of his alarm cut through the dark. Normally, his hand would crush the snooze button, and another day would dissolve into wasted hours. But this time he sat up. Groggy, heart pounding, he stared at the ceiling, fighting the urge to crawl back under the blanket. He realized that every morning he had surrendered without a fight, stacking bricks in a prison he built himself. Yet maybe those bricks could be pulled down one by one if he chose to act. That thought unsettled him, because it meant the truth was simple. He had been the only thing standing in his way. He grabbed a notebook and wrote down a vow, trembling as he wrote the words, "Today I will do one thing that scares me, but moves me forward." It wasn't a grand plan. It was almost embarrassingly small. But in its simplicity lay the terror, because taking one step meant admitting his old habits had failed him, and that there was no one left to blame but himself. That day, Michael stepped outside in worn-out running shoes. The pavement stretched before him like a dare. He hadn't run in months, and his body screamed from the first stride. His lungs burned, his legs wobbled, sweat poured down his back. Every part of him begged to stop. But something in him refused to quit. He pressed forward, one heavy step after another. When he finally stopped, chest heaving, he felt something he hadn't felt in years: pride. Not the pride of finishing a race, but the pride of refusing to surrender. It was a spark of proof, evidence that he was capable of more than he had believed. That night, as he collapsed into bed, sore but smiling, he understood something vital. Transformation wouldn't come in a single leap. It would come in inches, through tiny steps that seemed insignificant, but carried the power to shift his life. Days became weeks. Each morning he repeated his vow. Sometimes it was a run, sometimes reading, sometimes practicing a skill. He stumbled often, failing, skipping days, giving in to distraction. But this time, failure wasn't an ending. It was a teacher. Every setback carried a lesson, and with every return he grew stronger. Weeks turned to months. Michael's energy sharpened. His posture straightened. He walked into rooms with a confidence that surprised even him. People began to notice. The quiet man blending into the background was gone, replaced by someone determined, someone alive. One evening, he stood before a mirror and barely recognized the reflection staring back. The man who once avoided discomfort now sought it out, knowing that growth lived there. He thought about the years he had wasted, the countless mornings lost to laziness and excuses. Regret stung, but it wasn't bitter. It was a reminder. Those wasted years had taught him the cost of waiting, and now he refused to pay it again. He realized that the gap between who he was and who he wanted to become had never been luck, talent, or timing. It had been one choice: to start. That choice hadn't been dramatic or glamorous. No spotlight had shone on him the day he took that first run. No applause rang out when he picked up that first book. But each small effort, each deliberate step built momentum. Slowly, imperceptibly, that momentum turned into a force powerful enough to shift the entire direction of his life. The ultimate test arrived when Michael was asked to deliver a critical presentation, one that could shape the future of his career. His chest tightened, his hands trembled, and fear roared inside him, threatening to drag him back into the shadows. The old Michael would have run, but now he thought of every run in the cold, every page he read when tired, every uncomfortable moment he had endured and overcome. Those small battles had trained him for this war. Standing tall, he stepped forward and spoke. His words flowed steady, his confidence undeniable. The room listened, and when he finished, applause filled the air. Yet the loudest applause echoed inside him. It wasn't about the presentation, it was about who he had become. Michael's story wasn't unique because he was extraordinary. It was proof that ordinary people can change the moment they act. Life doesn't wait. Time doesn't pause. And the difference between stagnation and transformation lies in a single stubborn decision: to begin. Each morning, Michael still wakes with doubts and fears, but he faces them with one question: what step can I take today to move closer to the life I want? That question changed everything. Michael's journey shows us one undeniable truth: waiting for the perfect moment is the surest way to waste your life. Change begins with action, no matter how small. Every step you take compounds into a life you once only dreamed of. If fear or doubt is holding you back, remember Michael. He started with one small step and it changed everything. Today is the day to take your step. Start now. Your future self will thank you. If this story inspired you, like, share, and subscribe for more motivational journeys that can transform your life.